how can you trust an expert? How do you know that the person that you're getting advice from is going to give you the right advice? So whether it's a doctor or a lawyer, an accountant, engineer, a builder, a plumber, a carpenter, a car mechanic, a dentist, they're all experts in their area, but how do we know that they know what they're talking about? So I'm standing in my husband's office, and he's a very impressive man. You could probably tell by the trophies behind me. If you've never met him before, you could say, well, he's obviously done something pretty impressive in sport. And on the wall are many certificates. There's gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals. They're all his world championship medals. But there's also everything to do with academics. So he's got a master's degree in exercise science. He's a published research scientist. He's a biomechanist. He's trained elite athletes. A very impressive man. But how do you really know that? You could go to the trophy shop and buy trophies. You can print certificates. There are a lot of people that have done that. They are just con artists who pretend to be something that they're not. But when it comes to the human body in particular, and that's my thing that I've been studying all of my life, it's a thing that I focus on every day, it's my training, education and learning. And the reason for that, of course, is if you understand how your human body works, if you understand how your brain works, is it possible that A, you'll ask better questions because you'll be more informed? And if you are healthy, fit and strong, is it possible that every part of your life becomes better? So that's my focus for healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic, disease-free, great hair, great skin, great nails, all the things about the human body. So when I go to an expert, I'm very, very careful, because in the area of being healthy, there are such opposing views. Whether it's a cardiologist, an endocrinologist, a hormone specialist, a orthopedic surgeon, a bone specialist, a gastroenterologist, obviously a digestive doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a neuroscientist, doesn't matter who you talk to, their views are not just opposing, they're completely different. So there's cardiologists that completely disagree. They argue, they've got the same degree, the same education, but they completely disagree with each other. So if you go to one cardiologist and get information, you could go to another cardiologist with the same qualifications and get completely different information. So how do we know who to believe? And I get perplexed, and this is something that comes up in my life every day, because people say to me, I've been to the doctor, I've been to the specialist, I've been to the dentist, I've been to the physio, I've been to the chiropractor, and this is what I'm going to do based on what they've told me. And I always ask, did you get a second opinion? How do you know that the information they've given you is right? Now, you might trust them. There's lots of reasons why we trust people. And of course, the research done on that is very fascinating, particularly now with social media. There's a lot of people that believe a podcaster because they've got ripped abdominals, or because they've got 30 years of experience, or because they've got university degrees, or because they've got 50 million followers. It's an interesting reason to trust somebody, and all of those things can be manipulated, can't they? So what's the foolproof plan to make sure that you don't get conned? And it's been my driving force all of my life, because when I first came into the exercise profession, I believed the experts. If they had a university degree, or they were a doctor, or they were a psychologist, or they had 30 different health clubs, or they had 300 people in their class, I believed them. And they conned me, and a lot of them were wrong. Now, not all of them were wrong, but I didn't know the difference. So I had to work it out for myself. And after being in the exercise profession now for a very, very long time, the thing that I've learnt the most is nobody really knows very much. Things change. We're learning all the time. I'm learning all the time. And often people are wrong. And then the really interesting one is the things that cycle around. Because once you've been in this profession for as long as I have, things that were in fashion went out of fashion, came back into fashion, went out of fashion. There's a whole heap of things happening on social media at the moment that were very popular in the 80s and 90s. I think they couldn't sell them anymore because people realised they didn't work. So now they've brought them back, and hope that people are now, well, the 18, 19, 25, 35-year-olds won't know that they don't work, so we can sell this shit again. Sorry, but I've been doing this a very long time. And the only reason you know whether something is BS or it's true is if you learn for yourself. And this is a very confrontational question, but I'm going to ask it because even though I'm not a parent, I work now with a lot of children. And children get dragged off to the doctor, to the specialist, to the psychologist, to the dentist all the time. And how do you know as a parent that what's going on for your child is going to be the right thing? So why not learn how your human body works? I've got to live in my body for the rest of my life. How about you? I've got to use my brain every day. I've got to use my muscles every day. I use my digestive system every day. I hope my immune system's working really effectively every day because I don't want to get sick. I want strong muscles and bones so that I can keep doing all the things that I do every day. That's where I live, in my body. How about you? So I'm not going to trust an expert. I never will. I don't trust any doctor, any medical professional. I go loaded with a series of questions, and if they can't answer my questions, then I'm not interested in what they've got to say. Now it might sound harsh. It's not disrespectful. I respect my own human body, don't you? And why would you listen to somebody who doesn't know? And I always use a simple example. If you take your car to the mechanic and the mechanic doesn't know where the engine is or how the brakes work or how to change an air filter, you wouldn't trust your car with that person. But so many people trust their body with somebody that doesn't even ask them, how old are you? What's your genetic background? What foods do you like? What foods don't you like? Have you had injuries before? And the really important question that I never hear medical professionals ask, and if you are a medical professional who asks, thank you very much. The question is, why did this happen to you? Not you've got this disease, you've got this syndrome, you've got this injury, you've got this thing that's happened to you, here's medication or here's an intervention to fix it. Why did it happen in the first place so we make sure it doesn't happen again? So you're unhappy, that some people would call that depression. Why? Not here's a pill, take a pill and screw up your whole headspace with a drug that has so many horrible side effects that it takes people years and years to get off those drugs once they get on them. Let's not get them on there in the first place. Why are you unhappy? Let's find that out and let's work at the source. Why do you have high blood pressure? Why do you have high blood sugar levels? Why are you really stressed? Why did you get that injury so that it doesn't happen again? Not just stick you with a needle, take some drugs, fix it, and then send you home. A lot of people get sent home from a back injury or a knee injury or a shoulder injury, and within the next time they train, if they ever train again, they get the same injury again because nobody said, the reason you got this injury is because you might have osteoporosis, weak bones, let's build up your bones. You might be doing exercises that are wrecking your joints, let's not do those exercises anymore. Wouldn't it be a really good idea if somebody gave you an exercise program, a so-called expert in exercise, and you could analyse that exercise program for yourself and say, based on how the human body works, if I do that to my shoulder or my knee or my back, I'm going to wreck that joint. Why would I do that to myself? And now you have the right to say that to the so-called expert. Why would I do that exercise? How's it going to work? Why would I take that medication? How's it going to work? Why would I do that medical intervention? How's it going to work? Now, the beautiful thing about this is a lot of people talk about doctors being arrogant. And there's this joke about what's the difference between God and a doctor? God doesn't think he's a doctor. Now, a lot of people think that doctors are God. A lot of doctors think they're God, and they're scared to ask them questions. But here's my personal experience. A great doctor, a great medical professional. I've got a colleague of mine who's a doctor in nutrition. These people are very humble. If you're at the top of the tree and you want to keep learning, you're doing it for the right reason. If you became a doctor to make money, or you became a specialist to make more money, then this is not how it works. But if you truly want to help people to be healthy, fit and strong, you will want to keep learning. You'll want to find out about your patient. You'll want to give them the information that's going to actually get them better, sort their challenge, and find out why it happened in the first place. And that's the beautiful thing about the medical professionals that I have, and they're the only people that I involve myself with, of course. I don't want to listen to arrogant people who don't want to learn. I've been a doctor for 30 years, I know. That's a quick reason or a good reason for me to run quickly out of their office. I want people in my life who are open to learning, who are continually learning, and that keep wanting to get better. I've been doing this all of my life, studying the human body, and every single day I get excited because I'm learning something new. We end our day here in this home with what did you learn today and how will you apply it into your life tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. I'm constantly learning because I want to, and shouldn't that be something that you demand from an expert? A true expert will want to know about you. Tell me about you. What do you want? Why do you want it? Where did that happen to you? When did it happen? Let's find out why it happened so it never happens again. And yes, let's fix it, sort it, change it, make it better. But let's make sure that you have a healthy, fit, strong body, that if this ever happens to you again, you can handle it. You'll be tougher, stronger, better, wiser. That's what I wish for everybody. So rather than just believe an expert because they've got ripped abdominals or because they've got 5 million followers, how about learn about your human body for yourself, learn about how the brain works so that you can analyse everything critically. We talk about critical thinking, don't we? And yet how many people understand how the brain works? If you're a parent, don't you want to have a healthy, fit, strong body and live the example for your kids? Wouldn't it be awesome? This is a quote I heard from a US Marine just recently. He said, I have ex-Marines who say they would take a bullet for their child, but they won't lose 30 kilos because they're overweight and out of shape. If you want to play with your kids, you've got to be in great shape. If you want healthy, strong, fit children, surely you have to be the same. I don't have any children, but I have lots of children in my life. And I want them to live their life to the max as a healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic person who has a career or business that they love. They are financially free or on track to be, and they've only got great people in their life. That's what I do every day. How about you? Super duper doo, how are you? Never believe an expert, become one of your own body. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Woo!